The challenge is to help people to realize that we are of one faith, one baptism, and that we can enrich the church and each other through our cultural diversity.
The faces in U.S. Catholic churches are no longer predominantly white, and the growing presence of faithful with diverse backgrounds has prompted the mission dioceses with limited financial resources to figure out how to meet the needs of these populations.
One God, forever and ever. Amen.
Beaumont is a very diverse community, racially and culturally diverse. Large Hispanic population, African American, Asian, as well as Anglo community.
In the 1980s, a wave of migrant workers from Mexico and other Latin American countries began to populate the state of Idaho.
None was prepared for them. Neither the church, nor the schools, nor the government, none of them were ready for them. So it was at the beginning kind of an overwhelming task for us, the Spanish-speaking priests and bilingual priests in general, because there was almost no structure at all to serve them.
The Diocese of Boise sought out bilingual seminarians in Mexico and populated its clergy and religious communities with those who could meet the language and cultural needs of these Catholics.
Maybe a third of those who are Spanish-speaking are totally Spanish-speaking and do not speak English, which does create challenges. So with radio,
uno de los guerrilleros me dijo, Padre Charles,
with our newspaper, with again representation at different conferences, we have to make sure that Spanish is a big part of that language.
El ministerio que se les fue confiado, el ministerio.
Sometimes it's hard when we speak English, so sometimes we're not speaking right.
Our gift is here that we do everything we can to really make things available for the people in their culture and in their language and their way of doing things. Instead of trying to get them to do American things with a Spanish flavor, we just open the door and say, okay, how do you want to celebrate?
There was a time when church leaders created separate masses and sometimes even separate church communities for Catholics with different cultural, racial, and language backgrounds. St. Catherine Drexel helped establish churches for Black Catholics in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
She founded Blessed Sacrament Church in the south end of Beaumont, the first Catholic church for African Americans.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
Though the church today respects the historical traditions of such churches, the leadership has made efforts to bring people of all backgrounds together.
Letting the cultures merge and let them keep their own unique identities at the same time is very important, and everybody benefits.
This is a very, very remarkable challenge that I'm finding in here. So to try to always together. You know, many times I offer bilingual masses, and they come, but after that will say, Father, we really would appreciate, you know, just two masses, one in English, one in Spanish. They do not totally reject, but you see the expressions.
It's not always easy, and I tell the pastors it's something that they have to educate and promote, because there is a certain amount of fear of a different culture, sometimes even prejudice, and so we have to break through that. And once we break through that, it's amazing what happens. That people, you know, people do come together, and culture gets in the way of our humanity because we remain on the cultural level. And a lot of times that's all stereotypes. And how do we get below the cultural level to our humanity is in dialogue, coming together, understanding, talking, etc.